Buying a house for only $1,000. There are cheap houses that you can buy. I know. You are thinking, can I really buy a house for just $1,000, Noelle? And the answer is yes. There are sites where you can go to and buy homes for just $1,000. There are so many ways, actually, more than one way to buy a house starting at $1,000, even $500. In this episode, I'm going to go through how you can actually get houses for $1,000. Going to give you some real information on which states you want to be able to do this in, how to even make money if it doesn't happen, if you're not even able to get the house, and some ways to put your money to work so that you don't have to work for the rest of your life. Let's go.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, all you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Okay, so I am here with my business partner, John Raymond. John has been in the business for so many years, and he knows a lot about buying homes at great prices. We're real estate entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and buying a home for only $1,000 is possible. Am I right, John?
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right. Let's get into this. So there's two major ways that I'm going to teach you, like I said, to buy homes. Obviously, you could invest in a fund. So John and I, we have a fund. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you're interested in investing, it only takes $1,000. You just go to invest.goldenTrinityGroup.com. You put in $1,000, you can invest. Or you can go to noellerandall.com/invest and watch a whole webinar where we teach you on that. But let's talk about these tax lien properties. Like, this is a way where I found people finding properties for $500, $1,000, like little as those numbers, you can start bidding. Let's talk about tax lien properties and even what that means, John. How would you describe, these tax delinquency properties and this whole thing that we have here?
Yeah, absolutely. So tax liens and deeds, and part of it depends on your state, but it's something that you can go out, and what happens is the state sends out a tax notice that you need to pay your property taxes. And then depending on the state, they'll have an auction. Utah, for example, is in May. They'll have a tax auction, and anybody can go and buy these tax liens or deeds from the person that owns the property. And then what happens is they tell you, hey, if you buy this tax lien, we're going to pay you 11-12% interest is kind of the norm as to what we see. And we'll pay you that interest until the person pays their tax bill. So you can go out and buy some of these properties, little $400, $500, $1,000, like super, super inexpensive way to get involved in real estate investing. We were talking to one of your people at the event back in October that had done this and had gone and bought like 6. And that's what they were doing to kind of get going on this process. And so it's a great way that you can get started for little money out of pocket, and it's a pretty good return on something very simple to do.
Yes. And I'm going to actually put a list together. You can find it in the description box that has some of these websites. So let me tell you really quick. So you talked about tax lien states. So obviously we have tax deed states, and we have states with, redemption deed states where they have this period in order to redeem and pay off the taxes, and then they could reclaim their home. But if they don't, obviously, in those redemption states, if they don't in that period pay their taxes up, then you as the investor, you get that property. Obviously, in tax deed states, again, immediately you're buying the tax deed, you are a holder of that, you're getting interest on it, and you could immediately just start making money, even if it's just interest. So what I love about this is on a lot of the websites, let's give you an example, like in different state, it's auction.com, for example. You can see, I'm going to put a quick little B-roll. You can go to auction.com, you make a login. Literally on some of these, the bidding starts at $500. And so you can kind of look through some of the properties, especially if you want to put specific zip codes. You literally can go by and drive. Some of the times they hide the address, but if you pay for, a pro account, you literally get the address. Obviously, you're not allowed to go inside. You're not allowed to do inspections. So it is a higher risk there, but at the same time, you can see the outside. You can make sure there actually is a house there. And this is how people are literally able to buy homes for $500, $1,000. Another thing I like about these websites is that you literally can say, all right, here's my minimum bid, and then you can put a max bid, and the system will actually automate it. So say, for example, if you don't want to spend more than $7,000, okay? You can put that's your max bid, and the system will automatically keep upping your bid up until $7,000. That way you don't have to keep coming back to the website. You don't have to stay on the website all day long. And guess what? You really can win some of these properties. And in many cases, it's nowhere near as competitive as you would think. It really just depends on where you live. But I really suggest for most people to bid on properties in either a tax deed state or a tax redemption state. Those are kind of like Noelle Randall's rules. What are some of the things that you're seeing and people have been successful with, John, with bidding on these properties?
I think the important thing to keep in mind is like how long the redemption period is, because depending on the state, I use Utah because I'm here, but Utah is a 7-year redemption period. So for something like that, you're not going to get you'll get the great return, which is, I believe, 11% in Utah. But at the same time, the ability to get a property, your window's open to 7 years. And you're not going to get anything back.
Some states are 3 years. Some states are 5 years. And again, it all really depends. And again, I love tax redemption states because, like you said, it's just gaining interest. And there's some states like Utah, like you said, 11. I think Michigan is like 23%. You know, there's some states that are 18%. You know, I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but just think about it. This is a great way to invest money, and at least you have almost like this guaranteed return. And then worst case scenario, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, depending on what state you in, you could end up with a property that you got for pennies on the dollar. Yeah,
and I used to work with somebody, and their rule of thumb was if we buy 10 of them, one of them we're going to get. So you basically get, you buy 10 of the tax liens or deeds, depending on where you're at, and then you're probably going to get one. But even with that, you buy 10, you're going to get 12% interest return on the other 9. And then you're going to get a house, which is then a 100+% return, depending on what the property is, right? Like, and how much
right. And so another thing that we're seeing that we're actually doing, and quite a few groups are doing, is pooling their money together. You know, what we call a crowdfund. So obviously, I told you about Golden Trinity. That's John and I's crowdfund that we're running, which is a Reg CF, and again, a Golden Trinity Group. And what we're doing is for a minimum of just $1,000, you could put that money in there, and me and John will do some of this auctioning. We're looking through these sites. You know, we're sitting there putting the bids in. We're going to come back and check. We may hold some of those certificates, and that will be just kind of a guarantee. But this way, you know, you could do this yourself. Like I said, John and I have given you all of this information. We're going to put, there's a cheat sheet in the description box that you can go, and it'll link to these sites that you can go to where you can click on the state that you want to do, or you can go to invest.goldenTrinityGroup.com and put $1,000 into the fund and let us do the work for you. One of the things that we have been realizing is that so many people want to invest in real estate. We know that real estate creates cash flow. We know that real estate creates equity. We know that real estate has appreciation. That's why we called it the Golden Trinity. It's the Golden Trinity of real estate. You get those 3 things when it comes to real estate. And the amazing thing is you don't have to worry about your credit score when you do, if you invest in Golden Trinity. You don't have to worry about coming up with a down payment. You don't have to worry about you coming up with all the money. Like I said, yes, on these auction sites, there are definitely people that have picked up properties for $1,000. Now, is that what happens most of the time? No. In most cases, the person pays their tax lien and maybe you get some interest on it, or the bid goes all the way up, and it, you know, it doesn't really just stay at $1,000, even that's where they started the auction. So I really feel like the smart thing that people should do is invest in Golden Trinity. So again, invest.goldenTrinityGroup.com. There is a link in the description box. If you do that, we actually have something amazing. Literally, if you go to the auction sites, like we are telling you, you can get properties for $1,000. Literally, yes, you can, but it's going to take work. And that property probably will need some work, okay? That property itself is probably going to need to be renovated. It's going to need, a foundation could be going in, the roof could be falling in. Like, lots of stuff goes on with a lot of these properties. Well, if you invest in Golden Trinity, we actually would make sure that we do those renovations, and then you would have access to the renovated property, because mostly how we cash flow our properties is by doing short-term rentals. So in many cases, we are targeting areas where short-term rentals work really well. You guys know Airbnbs. Noelle Randall loves short-term rental. I get more cash flow on my properties, but I still get that same appreciation. I still get equity. And with Golden Trinity, now we've kind of spread out the risk. You know what I mean? So instead of you trying to save $5,000, $10,000 and going and auctioning on all of these properties and investing all by yourself, you literally can invest with all of us help lower your risk, and actually end up with properties that you get to visit and see. You know what I mean? With just a $1,000 investment into Golden Trinity, you literally will get one free night at our properties on a 3-night stay. If you invest $2,500, you get 2 free nights. If you invest $5,000, you get 3 free nights. So essentially, you will get a free vacation. We have some amazing properties in Florida already. So it just would be an amazing investment for you. But I absolutely love the auctions. One of the benefits I think me and John were also talking about was the fact that it is kind of a guaranteed return. I know I said that kind of really quickly, but imagine how much if we put our money in, we're going to do some of that anyway. So again, you get to kind of spread out that risk without having to do it yourself. What are you thinking, John?
No, you're absolutely right. And the only reason that it's guaranteed is because the government's charging the interest. So the person has to pay that interest because the government's charging it. And
great point. Great point. People have asked me that, like, what do you mean you get to make interest on it? Well, like you said, if you owe the IRS, for example, they're charging interest and stuff like that. Well, the government, the city, whoever they owe their taxes to, the state, they are saying, mostly a city and county, for the tax liens that we're talking about, and they're charging them a interest, and you bought that lien, so you bought that certificate, you actually get that interest to you. So it really is a great way to invest. But what I love about it is you don't have to spend a lot of money or invest a lot of money to get a great return.
Well, I think the beautiful part of that also is you're not dealing with landlords, tenants, things like that, because you're buying it through the government. So the government's managing the bill collecting and the invoicing and all of that for you. And so then when it's paid, you just get paid from the government. So it's a nice way to just not have to deal with a lot of those other things. And again, if you don't want to deal with the hassle and try and find the properties, you should definitely go to invest.goldentrinitygroup.com and let us do the work for you.
Yeah. And like I said, for $1,000, you really do get not just one house, you actually have access to an entire portfolio. Like I said, we've already raised money. We've already started going out and sourcing properties and doing these auction things and going and finding subject to deals and really doing a lot of the legwork that we have been doing for years to source and find great properties. But again, when you want to do this yourself, if you say, hey, I want to invest in tax liens, or I want to invest in fix and flips, or I want to buy an apartment building, well, guess what? You're going to have to make sure your credit score is intact. You're going to need way more than $1,000, as a down payment. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars as a down payment. And then you also have the mortgage that you have to pay. So, John made a great point with dealing with tenants and dealing with guests. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that either. Once we put the property together, we are going to cash flow that property and help distribute those profits to our investors. Well, not only are we going to do that, we're also going to handle the financial part of it. So let's talk about that. Down payments, credit scores, mortgages, mortgage payments, utilities. Guess what? None of that has to be dealt with by you when you invest in Golden Trinity Group. And again, that's invest.goldentrinitygroup.com.
Yeah, and I think you spoke to a great piece of that, the accounting piece of it, just alone in and of itself. When you talk to people, they don't want to deal with the math and the taxes and all of that stuff. And so we take care of all of that for you. And the benefit of investing, it's the only way to build true wealth. And investing, your tax rate goes down because investing is taxed less than income. And so if you want to build long-term wealth, you definitely want to look at investing with a group, or especially get started early.
Yeah, and that's what smart money does. So many people say to me, well, I want to be a multimillionaire like you. How do you do it? The easiest way to millionaire, every millionaire always tells me, you got to get your money working, not you. You're not getting to work. You're not getting 2, 3, 5 jobs. You got to get your money working for you. And so smart money knows to invest. So again, invest.goldentrinitygroup.com and put your money to work. We're not asking for $50,000 or $100,000. Again, an investment is just of $1,000. It will get you into Golden Trinity and will get you free nights, a free night at our property. And an investment of $2,500 will get you 2 free nights. An investment of $5,000 will get you 3 nights stay at our properties. And again, we already have properties that you can stay in right now that are managed by my other company, NewRez Incorporated.
And I think the other part of that is you get to leverage our expertise, right? Like you can go out and you can spend years learning everything that we've learned over the years. I mean, I've been coaching and doing real estate for 20 years now, and you've been in it for a while as well. And so you get to leverage that expertise Yeah, you get to leverage that expertise instead of trying to go out and learn it out. You can buy a coaching program and do all those things, or you can just invest and kind of shortcut the process.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see that more and more people, obviously I love coaching and I love doing that, but I'm starting to see that a lot of people are realizing, you know what? It's a lot of work. And yes, you can make lots of money and it does pay off. And I absolutely love being a landlord. I love owning real estate. I love being a real estate entrepreneur, but it is not for the lighthearted. The easier way would be just to put $1,000 in to Golden Trinity, invest.goldenTrinityGroup.com, and just let that money work. Let us do the work. Let your money do the work, and let your money grow that way.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great way, but if you want to go do it, by all means, reach out. Let us support you, and let's figure it out together, because together we're all stronger.
That's right. That's right. So I want you to know that you really can buy a home for just $1,000, or you can invest as little as $1,000 at invest.goldentrinitygroup.com. As I mentioned before, an investment is just as small as $1,000 will get you a free night at our properties. We have beautiful properties that you can invest and actually get to stay in. If you invest a little bit more, you actually get more free nights. You'll even get invited to celebrity parties here in Florida, and you'll even get to submit us properties. If you have any that you see that are available, we will actually pay for those as well. Golden Trinity Group is a crowdfund that we are designing to help all of us as a group. It's a small investment that can take you to the next level and get your money working for you. Invest.goldentrinitygroup.com. Go there right now, because once the fund is full, this opportunity is done. You want to go there right now and invest that $1,000 and get your money working for you. I just want to make sure that you have all of the knowledge, all of the resources, and all of the tools that you need to be successful. This is Noelle Randall. To your success.